Hey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Wall Street Rundown. I'm your co-host Billy. I got Wale with me. What's going on, Wale?
How you doing? How you doing?
Man, I'm gonna keep my head above the water with all this craziness happening in the stock market. Ah, man, the whole war thing, man. It kind of like we're talking about it. Just kind of like messed up a lot of trades today, and yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you gotta expect, right? I actually swung some puts from yesterday. I mean, I had to close them out because the market started rebounding and then it started selling off again. It's like, God damn. So it's like, it's just you got hit from all directions today. But
Correct.
overall, the major US indexes declined sharply today. The S&P fell almost 1.1%. The Dow Jones dropped 1.8. The Nasdaq slipped 1.3. Surprisingly, I mean, oil went up like 7 to 10%. If you look at all the oil ones, they kind of went up a little bit. And also, we you sent me the list of some of those stocks that just surged after hours yesterday. Talk about Lockheed Martin and a couple other ones. They just ran up. I mean, I don't know if there was insider buying on those right before. I don't know if anybody knew about it, but some of those stocks was up pretty nice. They were up pretty nice, man. So give us your outlook on this, man, because I know we talked about, should this be another dip that that people should buy? Should we wait? Like, what is your outlook on this one?
So first of all, let me just say war is never a good thing overall. Obviously, everybody knows that. Let's just get that out the way for now. But it's I kind of look at this like a quarterback on an NFL team. This is why you watch film because we've seen this before,
Yep.
right? We have seen this playbook before. Last year we had two incidences where Iran and Israel were going at it in April 2024, and then most recently in October 2024. If you look at those instances, right, where you always get that knee jerk headline reaction,
Mm-hmm.
markets sell off right away. You know, war stocks like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, L3 Harris, they all pop. And then after a couple days, things start to subside.
Yep.
I'm kind of expecting the same thing with this incident. Now, this incident sounds like it could linger a little bit longer. But from what we have seen in the past, this conflict is not new to us. This is not new.
No.
This
Nope.
is something that's happened many times in the past. And as long as it stays concentrated to that region, as long as other countries don't start jumping into the conflict, then you would expect things to kind of just you expect the headline news, but you expect things to sort of return to normal.
Right.
We had the same thing with the Ukraine and Russia war. Now, that was a little bit different, and I'll talk about how this one could be different as well. That one was a little bit different because Russia was a global supplier of oil, and that supply went completely offline.
Mm-hmm.
So, because of that, we saw oil spike. We were also in the middle of the Fed raising rates.
Yep.
So that added to inflation. So that was a little bit different. Now, this time around, at least so far in this conflict, Israel has not hit any of Iran's oil supply, hasn't hit any oil infrastructure. Their main targets are trying to prevent Iran from producing nuclear weapons. So they've concentrated their efforts in that area. As long as there is no spillover into civilians or into the
Right.
oil infrastructure, or if Iran doesn't all of a sudden cut off its oil supply to other parts of the world, this is something that I will happen. And I think the markets will then realize that, nothing, this is not like a World War III event
Right.
or anything like that. So we'll just have to wait it out. There's a lot that can happen. The thing about global conflicts like this is there's nothing you can really do to predict what can happen because again, you're not calling the shots from either
Right.
side of the aisle. So you just have to prepare for anything. But what I look at is based on what has happened before, typically it hasn't spilled over yet. Will it this time? I don't know for sure, but I'm kind of betting on that it won't because I just I don't know if that's a prudent move for either side.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's how I look at it. But if it does start to, hurt the oil supply, now this is another thing that you also have to think about is if oil gets involved, let's say oil supply to the rest of the world gets cut off or oil infrastructure gets attacked, and that happens, and inflation starts to move higher because oil prices are moving higher,
Mhm.
then that becomes a global issue because if inflation moves higher, the Fed can't cut. The Fed needs to start talking about raising rates,
Right.
and that can be detrimental to stocks. So that domino effect could be what continues to ruffle the feathers of the market if that eventually happens. Again, we don't know. So we just have
Right.
to wait
Right.
and see how this stuff plays out. But I'm just looking at what we saw in the past. And the thing that's actually funny is as soon as the market opened, the buy the dip folks jumped in immediately.
Right.
Like the
Didn't
levels
even
got
wait.
didn't even wait. It was right at 6:30. So you can kind of tell what people think about this conflict. And if it wasn't for Iran firing back at Israel, the market
The
might have
market, it
turned
was
green.
moving. Yeah, it
It
was
might have
moving.
turned green. But the
Yep.
moment Iran started to fire back, we sold off. So, you know, a few people in our trading group, Tesla broke out above 318, made a
Yep.
strong move to like almost 335.
Yep.
A couple people in our trading group caught that move. I think I was looking at QQQ, found
It
support near like,
tried. It
yeah,
tried.
526,
Yep.
and it made that move from 526 to about 531,
Yep.
and then Iran
You
started
got
firing
smacked.
missiles, and then it
They
got
got
smacked
smacked.
back down. So
Yep.
I'm just, I'm in a bullish call spread. I got 3 weeks for this call spread to play out, but I'm not, how should I put it? I'm not over exaggerating the facts so far. That's what I'm saying right now.
Hmm.
So we've got conflict. Yes. Will it last long? My thinking is no, it won't last that long.
Right. So if they reach some type of truth this weekend, what do you
Mhm.
expect to happen as the market open next week?
If they reach some kind of truce this weekend, I expect a big move to the upside.
Yep.
But from what I'm hearing, it doesn't sound like there will be some sort of truce anytime soon. Because
Hmm.
I think Israel's talking about engaging in like a couple week campaign. Like they sounds like they're not done.
Mm.
Iran sounds like they're not done either. And from what I've seen in the past, for the most part, it's kind of been a one-sided battle,
Hmm.
right? Israel's Iron Dome has done what it's supposed to do in most
Yep.
cases.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and I don't know how things fared this time, but I think the last time they had an issue, I think this might have been in October. I want to say Iran went like 0 for like 300. Like they shot like 200 missiles or 300 missiles, and none of them hit anything
Yep.
important. They were
Yep.
all intercepted.
This time I
So,
think they fired like 150. I think nine of them landed, I think.
okay. So I don't know where they landed. I don't know what they were shooting at. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard any catastrophic damage on the civilian side of Israel.
Yep.
And Iran has said that, most of what has been hit has been military things. And so I don't know. I can't call it. I'm not an expert in, geopolitical warfare. I just look at the film. I've looked at what happened in the past. I've seen what happened in the past. And I just say, hey, what could happen this time around is probably going to be very similar.
Right. Right.
So that's what I'm preparing for.
So some of the stuff that got affected today also was the travel and airlines. So you see United gonna drop, Delta drop, American drop, and some of the cruises also gonna drop a little bit, and it's all due to like fuel costs, fuel rising fuel costs, and also routes. I mean,
Correct.
also tension, that's happening right now. So you can see that kind of impacted those companies a little bit also with
Correct.
this craziness that's happening.
Yeah, airline cost for fuel is probably going to go up, going to eat into their margins. Stock
Hmm.
needs to get reevaluated. So that's basically what's happening with the airline stocks is that their fuel costs go up. So, and if they have to charge people more and people's like, that's a little bit too high, I'm not flying no more.
Right.
Not making that hurts your revenue. So
Right.
it's a
Right.
high fuel cost is never good for airlines. Nope, not at
Right.
all. And I know that they hedge it at times, but sometimes it doesn't always work out the way they plan.
Yeah. Speaking of airlines, have you heard about Southwest potentially going away with the open seating stuff? They're actually going to start assigning seats.
Oh wow.
The reason why they're doing that because they're losing money on not being able to do like things like upgrades. You know what I mean? Or
Mm,
so you see United and Delta, they're kind of making a lot of money because they can do upgrades. First class and economy and then business class, whatever. So it's like they're able to kind of upgrade or upsell customers based on that, right? But Southwest can't really do that because their seat is open and they have the same type of airlines. I mean, airplanes, right? They If you go into Southwest, it's always the same type of airplanes. You're never gonna
yeah,
see, the two seaters or whatever. You're always gonna see the three-row seats.
correct. Yeah,
So
they don't have like smaller like regional planes or
nope,
anything like that. You're right.
nope,
Yeah,
nope. And it was a business decision back in the days. Like they want to make sure that you can get in, you can select your seat, you can sit whatever you want to sit. So that's kind of hurting their business model because they don't really have rooms to be able to make extra money. It's kind of like what Delta, United, and American are doing.
yeah.
So if you fly in Southwest out there, just to let you know, there's about to be another spirit out here.
And they don't have first class either. So there's
Nope.
no first class. They just have A list.
Yep. Yep. Airless
So
preferred and all that stuff. Yep. Yep. So I think they want to be able to get away with like maybe designating like the first few rows for like if you want to board early, you got to pay extra amount of money or whatever. So yeah.
and I think they got rid of the two bags fly free thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's another
yeah,
thing too. Yeah. So they're definitely trying to figure out how to make more money, and it's causing some backlash for some people who love Southwest, but at the same time, the company has to make money. You're losing money on all these different things. So yeah.
yeah.
Another thing we saw drop today was bank stocks kind of drop a little bit today. So you see Visa and MasterCard drop after reports that Walmart and Amazon are basically trying to get away from using credit cards. So they want to start using stable coins, right? That's how instead of using dollar, they want to start using stable coin, which is a form of cryptocurrency, right? So yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. And we've seen more and more adoption now when it comes to cryptocurrency and stuff. You see, like the big companies are starting to think about rolling some of those stuff out. And I think Coinbase, is it Coinbase or somebody just rolled out a credit card or a debit card that has the ability for you to be able to use crypto to be able to purchase things. So yeah, we're seeing a shift toward those type of payments now. So no longer people are relying just on dollars, but we're seeing move over to the cryptocurrency world also.
Yeah, I think the thing with the stablecoin stuff that I've always asked the question is there's no clear cut like regulation around that. Like
No.
that's the issue. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, Walmart, it's crazy how Walmart is doing all of these like innovative things and trying to figure
Mm-hmm.
stuff out. And you got companies like Target that just can't like get their feet out the mud.
I mean,
And I know Target's got bigger issues and bigger fish to fry, but it's so funny that, you look at two companies in the same silo,
mm-hmm.
retail business, but one company is just so much further ahead than the other.
Yep.
Um, and
Yep.
like I said, if Target can't figure it out, I'm telling you right now, that CEO gonna get fired.
I mean, the whole concept was, trying to be the bougie side of Walmart, right? Because if you go to Walmart, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever been in this website. There's a website called Walmart People. It is funny. I mean, it's borderline like it's just type in Walmartpeople.com.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Bro, they out here making fun of people go to Walmart, man. It's just like it's just a set of unique people that go to Walmart. You know what I mean? So Target wanted to be the bougie side of Walmart, right? So cater to a little bit more upscale. You can
Hmm.
tell from the way they set up the stores to the stuff they sell. They have they partner with certain people. Even the way they set up the stores, it's a little different than Walmart, right? Walmart is just huge. You just go in there, it's like
It's a
it's
free
huge.
for all. Yeah.
Yeah. But Target was like a little bit more I don't know, organized and more set up like an aesthetic wise, I guess.
Yeah. Hmm.
But Yeah, man. So I don't know. They definitely need to do innovation, and I agree with you that CEO is probably gonna get fired real soon.
Speaking of
When
Walmart, did you see that video about being able to shoot a podcast in a Walmart now?
yes. Wait, did you send it to me or?
I think I sent it to you.
Oh my God, that is
So,
crazy.
so Walmart now has podcast studios, or
Yep.
they have a podcast studio in one of their locations.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that they're testing it out to roll it out in other locations. So if you're looking for a place to host a podcast, you can go to a Walmart and
Yep.
shoot your podcast there.
Yep. Yep. And it's pretty
That's
cool.
that's
It's pretty
crazy.
cool. It's
That's
pretty
crazy.
cool. That's not a bad business concept. I mean, I know there's a lot of them out here, like especially in Atlanta. There's a place here where you can actually like there's few places actually where you can go and they have everything set up for you. You could just all you have to just bring yourself and start recording. And they will to record. If you want somebody to edit it, they'll edit it for you. If you want somebody to mix it, they'll mix it for you. All of that stuff. That you literally just show up maybe with your laptop and you're good to go.
Wow.
So now I think Walmart is probably they probably I don't know, man. They probably did some analysis on their end and figure out like let's do a test run on this one and see if we can actually
Hmm.
get people to pay to come in, host programs, edit videos, mix music, all of that stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So that's not a bad. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. We'll see if we start seeing it popping out in more places.
Target needs to do that.
And the funny thing is, like I said, Target hasn't really done anything to help
Nothing
their
innovative.
failing business. They haven't done anything. So we'll see.
Nothing innovative whatsoever is happening right now.
Yeah. So
Um, One thing I wanted to talk to you about is you see that Trump just unveiled that plan where they're giving each and every single person that was born, I think as of December 2025 or something like that, $1,000 for
mhm.
any kid that was born to be able to be put in the market, right? What do you think about that, man? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I'm real big on investing for kids at an early age, not saving, investing. Like I always sometimes like people that I know will call me and be like, "Hey, I want to open up a savings account for my kid." I'm like, "Why a savings account?" Like
Mm-hmm.
the kid is less than a year old. They're gonna grow into their 18. A savings account is not a good long-term,
No,
vehicle to put money in. It's not.
no.
Now, investing in your child's future, I think makes more sense. And the thing that I like about this program is it sounds like you're not paying money on the growth of the money, which is good because
Yep.
again, the biggest expense in any investing process is taxes. And if you can limit taxes, the more money you keep. So UTMA, UTMA, and UGMA accounts, UGMA accounts, those accounts are designed for minors, which puts the parent as the custodian for the account. But as the money grows, you're being taxed on it. So it's not necessarily as tax efficient unless you're just buying and holding. But as you're selling and you're making money in the account, you're paying taxes on those transactions. So it's not
Right.
exactly tax efficient. So some parents will say, okay, I'm going to open up a 529 account. Great. But remember, a 529 account can only be used on expenses related to college,
Mm-hmm.
higher education. Otherwise, you pay a penalty
When
by
you
not
draw it.
doing that.
Right.
So that kind of restricts you. So it does grow tax deferred, which is wonderful, but it restricts what you can spend it on if you want the tax benefit.
Yep.
This sounds like it grows tax deferred. Now, when you take the money out, I don't know if you're going to pay taxes or not. They haven't said that yet, or I didn't hear anything about how that's supposed to work. But I would assume that you probably will have to pay some sort of tax. I'm not sure,
Mm-hmm.
but as long as you're not paying taxes on the growth, that's usually a good thing. My only issue that I hope that they consider is that parents don't abuse it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you put money in there, the money belongs to the child. You're just a custodian.
Yep.
You can't spend the money.
Yep.
Like there should be restrictions on withdrawals. That once the money goes in, the money is supposed to be used for the child, not
Yep.
for the parents. Like you
Yep.
can't be a parent and be like, oh my God, I need an extra $1,000. Let me go pull it out of the kids,
Yep.
savings
Yep.
account. That to me,
Yep.
it almost defeats the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I think it's a very good idea. I think that it just needs some more fine tuning. But again, if saving for a kid at an early age is a really, really, really good idea if you want your children to get a head start financially in this world,
Yep.
because as they grow up, things are just going to get more expensive. So, any sort of financial assistance that you can help them with as they grow is always going to be a good thing in the long run, in my
Right.
opinion.
I'm always skeptic about things that government do for the people. So for me, it's always there's always a catch. You know what I mean? Whenever you get something like this, but
That is true. That is true. And I'll probably say this too. Let's just say you accumulate a ton of money in that account. I would assume that when your kid wants to go to college and they're applying for financial aid, they're going to look at how much money they got in that account.
Yep.
And that will probably hurt their ability to
Probably.
get
Yep.
things like scholarships and loans and things like that.
Exactly.
So there, I think it's a good idea, but I'll say this as well. There's always going to be a catch.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
always going to be a catch. We just don't know what that catch is, though.
Yep. So it says here, when can kids withdraw? Withdrawals allow for education, job
Okay.
training, starting a business, or buying a home. So
Okay.
they
Good.
get partial access at the age of 18, up to
Okay.
half. So they can get up to half or whatever they have in there by the time they're 18, and they
Okay.
have full access at 30. Now,
Okay.
you mentioned tax treatment. Tax treatment, long-term capital gains, if they use for approved goals. So if they use it for those approved goals like job training, starting a business, they get long-term capital gains taxes.
Okay. Okay.
Ordinary income tax for other use. So if they use for anything other than the stuff they mentioned in there, they get regular taxes, which
Okay.
is probably at that what 40%, I think.
It's your marginal tax bracket. So if you're in
Yep.
a 40% tax bracket, it will be 40%. If you're in a 32% tax bracket, 32% and so forth. So it'll be based on your marginal tax bracket.
Right.
Yeah.
So the expected growth of benefits with compound returns about 7% over time. $1,000 turns into $3,570 by the age of 18.
Hmm.
Or if you don't add anything, this is just the pure $1,000. By the time you're 60, you have $574,000 in there.
Oh, wow.
Now, now guardians could add up to $5,000 a year in profit contributions with funds invested in broad U.S. index or mutual funds.
Hmm.
So as a parent, you can also add on top of that.
Correct. Yeah. Up to $5,000 a year. Now, here's my question. Is the government collecting basis points on those mutual fund fees or those ETF fees?
So this is called Trump accounts. So I don't know what those fees, who's managing that. I don't know who's going to collect it. You know, it might be the government. They might be
Yeah,
making some money out of it.
they might be getting a few basis points on under the table. I
Yeah,
mean, he putting his own personal name on it. Somebody like that, I would expect it wants to be compensated for it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, the other thing that people kind of like criticizing this thing is they expect it to cost over $3 billion a year, right?
Mm,
And it's only available to children with at least one working parent with
mm,
a social security number. So you can't have both of your parents relying on government assistance and all this stuff. They have to be working.
okay.
So again, if you're an immigrant family that just moved here, or um, or you if you're here illegal, I mean, you automatically not qualify. Your kids is not qualified, just based on your status, basically.
Now,
So
is there how should I put it? Is the $1,000 only available at birth, or can you enroll the kid later on? Let's say the parent becomes eligible and all that stuff.
it looks like it's available at birth. So it's for every U.S. baby born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. So it looks like it's only going to 2028. It's not like a forever thing.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Which again, for me, is like, okay, what is the catch? Like, if you're trying to do this for all the kids in America for the rest of their life, why are we only capping it till 2028?
Gotcha. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's always a we'll find out later. I'm pretty sure there's always a gotcha moment in this
So
thing.
I wonder if they put the cutoff window to encourage people to have kids, because If
Yeah.
I've been hearing people saying that birth rates are going down. So maybe they put it into this like short window where it's like, hey, you got 3 years to have kids,
Yeah.
and they want people to start pumping out babies. Maybe that's the incentive.
Puppet babies. That's funny.
Yeah, let me
Yeah,
let
I
me
mean,
let me let me rethink my
that's
situation.
what I was gonna say. You might.
Let me rethink my situation.
Well, then you might need to get in there. Get you some babies by
I got a
2028.
I got a 3 year window to be useful to society.
Oh man, that's funny.
I thought it was going to be like a new program like Social Security or something like that.
Nope.
Okay. Okay, that makes
Trump
sense.
is like, by the time I'm out of the office, this program stops.
Hey, see? Huh. I'm glad you did your research on this.
But that's what I
Because
mean. It's like, oh, so what's happening? I don't understand, you know?
yeah, because I'm thinking, okay, they want to get kids ahead financially as they are born into the United States.
Right, right.
But it's kind of like, no, we're doing it for this window time frame only. And if you miss the window, you miss the window.
Pretty much.
I know all my friends that probably like um had kids like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. They're like, man, I should have waited
You should have waited one more year, man, or
one
two
more
more
year
years.
or two
Yeah.
more years.
And
Huh? That's an interesting like, huh?
yeah. So I was like, for
Yeah,
me,
there's
it's
there's
always this always a catch. I was like, I don't know
yeah.
what the catch is. We'll figure it out later. But it's
Yeah,
like,
I want to say that because people are saying that birth rates are down, they're probably trying to incentivize people to
mm,
start having more kids. So
I don't know, man. With all the stuff happening around the world, I don't know if anybody's thinking about having a kid right now. This is
eh,
it's crazy. All right, man. Well, let's move on to next week catalyst. So we next week we have, is it next week, June 17th? Yeah. We
Fed
have
meeting.
the Federal Reserve meeting coming in June 17th and 18th. Fed is almost certain they're gonna hold it steady. I don't think they're
Oh
gonna do
yeah,
any they're not
yeah.
gonna do any
No,
cuts.
no, 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 no. You can't cut rates with the threat that oil is now going to start adding to
Right,
the inflation numbers. You can't do it now.
right.
You absolutely cannot. So we'll just have to see what um, Powell's tone is as far as how he feels about this whole conflict.
Yep. Yep.
Um, but I've also been hearing that again, people are saying that the inflation numbers on the tariff fronts are coming. Like people are not taking that off the table. And I know we haven't seen it yet because we've looked at April CPI and PCE,
Yep.
nothing. We've
Yep.
looked at May CPI, nothing. We'll get May PCE later in the year. I mean, later in the month. But I guess people are saying maybe we'll see it in July and August. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I really, really, really don't think that we're going to get any rate cuts this year. I've been
Yeah.
saying that. The
Yeah.
only the only way, in my humble opinion, we get a rate cut is if there is a catastrophic need where the Fed has to step in and say, okay,
Yep.
enough is enough.
Yep. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
that's what I think. But right now, you just can't do it. You just can't do it. So
Yeah. I mean, we're still seeing pressure also from Trump and his team basically
yeah.
trying to pressure Powell to cut rates. So we'll see.
But another thing that I don't know if this administration understands this is that you have to understand this, right? The Fed really only controls the short end of the yield curve, right?
Mhm.
Their rate cuts are sensitive to like the 3 month, the 1 year, up to the 2 year. Once you start getting to the 5 year, the 20 year, and the 30 year, a Fed rate cut is not going to affect that part of the yield curve. It's
Right.
not. That is usually based on supply and demand, risk reward, like all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they really understand that. I don't think that Trump paid attention in economic class. I don't think JD Vance did either.
I don't think they
But
cared.
yeah, you just have to understand that Fed cuts typically only affect the short end of the curve.
Yep.
That's the most sensitive parts. So I know rate cuts will help like mortgages and stuff like that, but the 10 year has to react as well because most mortgages are attached to the 10 year
Yep.
US Treasury.
Yep.
So if you cut rates, and let's just say the 10 year doesn't move for whatever reason, because you're either raising the debt ceiling and other countries want to be compensated more because your debt quality is going down,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't do nobody any good.
Absolutely not.
So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I think Powell's just going to get up there and just have a very stoic,
Yeah.
straight face, like we're not cutting. We plan, and I think this is what we're going to get this time. We didn't get it last Fed meeting. We're going to get the projections of economic, no, summary of economic projections, SEP.
Mm.
So we're going to get that. So we're going to get the dot plots.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
that will be a market mover if two things happen. If the committee now says that, hey, we're expecting rates to be higher for longer, that could shake the market a little bit. That could really shake the market because we're going to get the dot plots this time around. We didn't get it last meeting. So yeah, that'll be a very interesting meeting. I might have to I might have to either close my spread or have to hedge it just in case. Because
And
now
for
we got a 20 VIX. So
yeah, yeah. VIX really moved up today. Um, so for those of you who don't know, that the dot plot is a chart that's published by the FOMC that shows each member's projection for future interest rate. So each of the member of the FOMC basically shows what they think is gonna go. So that was gonna be interesting. I'll see how the market reacts to that actually. The other thing that's happening also, the G7 summit is happening also the same week. What the G7 summit, if you guys don't know, is a group of seven summit, seven of the world most advanced economies. I mean, you got United States, United Kingdom, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan. I'm surprised China is not on the list, but I don't know. I think they got kicked out a long time ago. But again, some of the things they have on their lists for this one at least is the Middle East conflict, so Israel and Iran tension. They have the global inflation and interest rate policy, and the big one is tariff wars and global trade, especially between U.S. and China. So that's going to be actually another good thing to watch and see how the market, if any, react to how what these guys talk about. Now, of course, they have the AI regulations and cybersecurity cooperation, and they always have the climate and energy independence also on top of that. But I think that's also a good one to watch on top of the FOMC to see how the market react to that.
yeah, and I'm looking at the VIX now, and I see two things that make me a little bit nervous. One, it wicked off this 1980 level,
Yep.
which was resistance a couple days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it broke out above 2034. So if the VIX holds 2034 and does not drop below 1918, then yeah, we could see we could see a VIX spike if the Fed if the Fed says some stuff that the market don't like. I'll have
Yep.
to look and see if I see any big orders on the VIX, but
Yeah.
yeah, I might have to reassess my spread. Luckily, I'm green now, so maybe I can get out with like my 5% gain and reassess
You
after the
get
Fed.
it.
Or if we get a nice move Monday or Tuesday, then I can just get out and then start over.
Yeah. We'll see, man. I mean, on the daily, it looks like we close above the 200 EMA, but if you go to the 4 hours, it looks like we close slightly below the 200 EMA on the 4 hours.
Mm.
So we shall
Yeah,
see, man.
I don't like that hammer candle that it closed on the daily. I don't.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I
they
do
came
not.
back. I mean, that can also be based on what people think was gonna happen over the weekend with
That's true.
with all this
That's
stuff.
true.
So people probably just gonna hedge some of their positions with VIX and stuff. So you
Yeah,
never know.
that might be true as well. Like I
Yep.
said, I think when the dust settles, as long as it does not escalate into oil infrastructure,
Yep.
and
Yep.
as long as other countries don't jump in, to me, the market will eventually realize that it will start to just push higher. Now, I hope that the Fed and the war doesn't ruffle the markets at the same time because that'd be a
Mm-hmm.
double whammy of
Yep.
bad news.
Yep.
So it'll be really interesting to see what the committee now has to contend with when it comes to the possibility, we don't know yet, that oil could add to the inflation issue that they've been trying to solve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because to me, what it looks like, at least for right now, the two mandates that they're worried about are always going to be price stability and employment. The employment piece kind of looks tame for now. We have not seen, we've been holding that 4.2% unemployment rate for quite some time. So the Fed
Right.
might say, hey, we're going to, if we feel comfortable with where employment is, we're going to pivot and focus more on price stability because we
Right.
have to contend with tariffs and we got to possibly contend with what this war could possibly do. So I would not be surprised if oil starts to move higher. I really don't know what Iran has up their sleeve though. So
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they talking crazy right now, and Israel talking crazy too. So when two people talking crazy, you gotta expect anything.
Yeah. We shall see, man. I mean, I'm just curious to see what's gonna happen over the weekend.
Yeah,
And yeah, we'll see what's happening. But some of the other US economic data, I mean, we don't really have a lot. We have retail sales on Tuesday. Wednesday says EIA crude inventory. So oil data will be also on that to see how the oil looks like. And yeah, I think that's about it. I don't think we have a lot of stuff happening beside the FOMC and the G7 summit. So
yeah,
with all that being said, man, I don't know, dude. It's like it looks like this end of the quarter is gonna look interesting.
yeah.
I think we're gonna
Exactly, exactly. The one thing I was also thinking about, and like I said, I am not a expert on geopolitical conflict, but from what I hear, China gets some of their oil from Iran.
Yep.
I don't know if Iran will use that as bait
Mm,
to be like, hey, China, we're not gonna send you no oil if they keep hitting us. And then China has to now step in and try to negotiate with the other side and say, hey, we
yeah.
need Iranian oil. Can y'all figure some stuff out to help us out?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just that part of the region, a lot of oil passes through that part of the region. I really don't know if Iran is going to be like, since we have leverage in that department, we're going to
Hmm.
start flexing our muscle. Like, just say, nobody gets through.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
They may not have to fire. They may not have to shoot back. They might just have
Yep.
to hit people in their pockets.
Yep.
Just
And
be like, all right,
that's gonna change sentiments real quick. Because
they say,
if we start seeing oil prices go up here, uh, that's gonna be a problem. You
yeah.
know.
I really don't know if Iran is going to be like, you know what, we're not going to fire back. We just going to hit people in the economic pockets.
Hmm.
No oil tankers, no ships, no nothing. Nobody gets through. We locking it down. And
Yep.
if they do that, then that's another problem that you just got to contend with. So,
You
like I
gotta
said,
figure
I don't know.
you got
I have
you
no
gotta figure
idea.
all that part out too. So yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm gonna have to
man.
reassess my call spread now.
Bro, I don't know what you're gonna say, man. I mean, going to next week, you already give a lot, man. I don't know. I don't know what more
Yeah,
you can say.
I will say this. I will say this. I'm still bullish, right? And when I say reassess my call spread, maybe it's I get out of this call spread and maybe I buy more time.
Hmm.
Maybe I buy more time. Because the way I look at it is if you ask me, will the market be higher or lower a month from now? Let's say 4 to 8 weeks from now. I'd probably say higher. Now, I'll probably be more confident in making that statement after FOMC. We'll see what happens after FOMC, and
Hmm.
then I can probably make a better decision on that statement. But like I said, I keep looking back at these conflicts that they've had over the last couple of years, and nothing has really escalated. Again, that can all change, but I'm banking on some sort of like everybody kind of just stops. So I don't know. We'll see. I can't really call it, man. I really can't call it. So
Yeah.
but
Well,
I just look at how the market reacted today, right? Like the moment it opened, buyers said we're buying.
yep.
So,
Yep.
but I will say 526 on QQQ, very important level that did hold into close, which is a good thing. But at the same time, if we get bad news over the weekend, we could just gap down and there goes that level. So let me not hold my breath too much.
So let me know, hold my breath. But this just in, Iran said they will target regional bases of any country to defend Israel. So
Oh, any country.
any country. Their defense Israel.
Wow.
So
So
they're
who's in that region that fits that bill then? That's the question.
Oh man, this is gonna
Who
be interesting.
who's in that region? I'm trying to think.
Who beside America? Who else defend Israel in that region?
That's what Iran does not have the ability to shoot ballistic missiles to the US. So I'm trying to think who can they hit that's close.
Oh, I see what you're
That's
saying.
what I'm trying to think. If they shoot a US ship in that region, that's not going to be good. I hope they're
No,
not thinking that.
no.
No. That would be
That they're committing suicide if they do
yeah,
that. That's
I don't know if they want that kind of smoke with the United States. That
no,
is yeah. But if they're
no.
saying they're going to hit anybody, I'm trying to figure out in that region of the world
I mean,
who's close they could beef with because
they
it sounds like they want smoke with everyone now, and that's yeah.
yeah, but the way they're positioned, man, I don't know who they can hit from there. I mean, you got Asia on the east, you got all the Asian countries on the east, you got, Africa on the left, and then you got the European nation on the top. I mean, they might be able to reach like Europe, but other than that, I don't see who they're trying to beef with right now. Like, I don't see it.
Hmm.
If I was down, all I do focus on Israel, man. Don't try to accumulate more enemies at this point. Like, but
Yeah, I don't know. I just yeah, war is never good. I mean, it's never good. I
never,
mean,
never,
especially I
never,
mean, it's
never,
never
never.
good. But hopefully, whatever they got going on, hopefully they can resolve it and just everybody can move on with their lives. Because
Yeah, we shall see, man. We
yeah,
shall see.
gonna be a long weekend.
That's what I'm saying. But as we all know, Trump is a good negotiator, so he's probably gonna pull something out of his pocket, and we will.
Yeah, and I'm hearing he's still trying to talk to him. He's still
Yeah,
trying to talk to him. So we'll see if he can,
yeah,
get them back to the negotiating table. But this is the whole Iranian nuclear war story has been around since the 90s.
so long, so
It's been
long.
around since the 90s. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and so far they haven't really been able to produce anything of substantial threat from what I heard,
Nope.
but people are saying that they're getting closer. So I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah.
we'll see.
All right, man. With that being said, I think we should wrap up, man. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, but I feel like we covered a lot today.
If you plan on buying the dip, I will
Mhm.
say give yourself as much time as possible because we don't know how this is going to shake out. And if you also plan on buying the dip, don't buy the dip all at once. That I will
Mhm,
say. So
mhm.
I'm gradually building my position, but now that I sort of reassess what I need to think about, I think I need to give myself a little bit more time. 'Cause I think I gave myself to the beginning of July. I might have to stretch that out to the end of July so
Yeah,
that if I need to progressively, but I'll make that decision after FOMC. So,
bro. The closest one I have is nice August. Like, I haven't been buying anything in July at all.
oh,
Like,
okay,
I
see,
went
you
all the
smart
way
then.
to
Yeah,
August.
you smart,
It's like
smart.
I should at least give myself, even if they extended to like the second week of July, I still got time on my contract. So
See, there you go. That's
yeah,
a smart way to
man.
do it. Yeah, I gave myself to the beginning of July, but I might need a little bit more time than that. So,
Yeah, you just
yeah,
never know how long this thing gonna happen, but we'll see. Well, I mean, that does it for today's episode, man. Wall Street Rundown. We covered a lot of stuff today. Turbulent market, oil prices going up, geopolitical risk. We also broke down the upcoming Fed's decision, G7 development. We talked about the Trump's $1,000 baby bonus plan that's coming up. But in any case, man, as always, stay sharp, stay informed, keep your strategy grounded, and yeah.
one more point that I want to make.
Mhm.
It was interesting to see that bonds were down today and
Right,
not
right, right.
up. So yields went higher, bond prices went down. So this phenomenon had stocks and bonds down. So something to pay attention to because typically when you see stuff like this, people run to two places, gold, which was up today,
So it
and
was
they
really
run to
up.
treasuries, which was
Yep.
actually down today. So something to monitor, and I'll be
Keep
looking
an
at
eye on
doing,
that. Yeah.
be doing some more research on why that happened today. Yeah.
Yeah. Gold is definitely moving, man. I mean, what are we at? Do we hit 4,000 already?
I don't know if we hit 4,000, but I think it made a new all-time high today. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we are like 3,432. Yeah, it's moving up there. So
Yeah.
gold is always a good place to look at, especially if you guys notice when the gold goes up, market usually is dropping because everybody's running to the gold. So just keep an eye on that. That's a really good hack if you want to see what the direction of the market is.
Another name that we talked about last episode that actually held up pretty nicely today was CCJ. I did not buy the
Yep,
dip on CCJ, but it did find support at this 65.45-ish area and it bounced.
yep.
I got out of that trade yesterday because it pulled back too much. But it might be a trade that I'm looking to get back in because I would like to see this one make another attempt to hit all-time highs. And it looks like we've got a double bottom that's almost formed
Mm,
on the 4 hour chart. If you have after hour price action, you can kind of see that there's almost like it's a little staggered to the left, but it's kind of a double bottom. If it breaks above that 67.41 area, I think that this thing could push higher. So I will be looking at
yep,
CCJ over the weekend. But it'll have to probably be a longer term swing, not something short term, because got to play the volatility game now with the VIX above 20.
yep. The other one that I think we talked literally quickly about it last time is LEU, which is the Centrus Energy Corp. Go look at that chart. It's still moving. It looks very bullish to me.
Oh
So
yeah,
keep an eye on that one also over the next few weeks here and see where we're going from there. But it's that chart has been moving. If you look at that quarterly chart, it looks crazy big. If you look at them 6 month, if you look at the yearly chart, we broke through some crazy levels and we're still moving up. So
and we're
yeah,
looking at since the April low, that thing went from
yep,
49 to 165. Oh, it just broke a new
ballistic,
high today. Wow.
ballistic, like, and it's still moving. So that one, I'll keep an eye on it because it's and again, if you go back to our last episode, we talked about Nvidia and their tactics on how to get into the AI and be able to kind of take care of like the energy and all these different things. This is actually one of the companies there that actually produces that energy component that they need to be able to produce uranium and all that stuff. So keep an eye on that one. I think this one might be a giant sleeper because if you look at the all-time high, I mean, this stock was at gosh, almost a $6,000 stock.
Oh, they must have split a couple times then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, I will say this though. Um, if there is any major pullback whatsoever, we've been talking about where the world technology is going and what's been innovative. Those will present to me, those will present opportunities to start
Yep.
by.
Yep.
So you talk about your
Easily.
SMRs, your OCLOs, your LEUs, all these companies that are supposed to be big players to
Mm-hmm.
supply power to data centers in the future. You better
Those
have
are the
those on your
ones.
shopping list. So
Those are
if
the
we
ones.
get any substantial pullback that creates buying opportunities, again, block your ears to the headline noise and think long
And
term.
focus. And focus.
You
Yes.
you
Yes.
will know
Yes.
exactly where you need to look. So
Yep.
I will leave on that note.
Yep. And if you guys doubt us, go look at how people came in today to buy the dip. So just keep an eye on that one. Them boys ran to the charts.
And the thing that I really hate was the trades I was looking at. Anytime you see immediate dip buying for some names, the bid ask are so
It becomes yep,
wide
yep.
that
Because volatility is going up. Yeah.
you can't really like just jump into a trade because the execution price could hurt you.
Yep.
So you got to
Yep.
wait for things to kind of like settle down. And I missed a couple opportunities. Um, but yeah, I am. We'll see what the high frequency algorithms, you know, things do.
So
But it looks like they're going back to the same playbook that was back in October and back in April. That's what I'm
yep.
looking at. So,
Yep. All right, y'all. If you find today's insight helpful, if you find today's episode was helpful, please make sure you follow us, share the show with your fellow traders, and connect with us on social media. And just keep an eye on our next episode. So, with that being said, I am.
oh,
Yep.
before we end, all of my investment educational information is $3.
Oh my God. Yeah, I better run to that.
So the entire package talks about options, stocks, mutual funds, budgeting. Our boot camp, everything's $3. I don't know how long I'm gonna leave it there for,
Oh
but
wow.
it's
Yeah,
it's
y'all,
th-
y'all better y'all better
it's
jump on there, man.
it's $3. So if you are someone who needs some fine tuning and some direction and creating a plan on getting your investment journey started, I don't think you'll find anything better for that
Yeah.
price.
Yeah. Y'all better get in there because there's some really, really, really good information on there. So hopefully you guys enjoy $3. Man, yeah. That's a deep discount there. I don't know how you came up with that, but
I think when Aklo hit $71, I was in a good mood.
you got happy. Oh man,
So
but yeah, $3 is a good price, y'all. Y'all better
it'll be a
jump on that.
limited time only. I don't know how long I'm gonna keep it, but $3.
Yeah, y'all better jump on there. All right, y'all. I'm Billy, and this is Wale. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on the next rundown. All right. Have a good night.